Welcome back, and joining me for a closer look at the day's market activity is Odwa Mangwentshu from Momentum Securities. Thank you so much for your time, Odwa. I'm really impressed by the rand, because this week it really has stabilized at that kind of 18 rand 50 level against the US dollar. I don't know, what is it? Our markets just maybe a little bit more optimistic, or maybe just a little bit more settled in terms of that there aren't any major catalysts to pull the market in either direction?
I believe that may be the case. I think we have finally digested Trump coming into office, and he's also not punched or thrown as heavy blows as he anticipated or stated in the campaign trail. And that's what we're seeing on our side, A. B, the dollar also hasn't shot up too much. And we have done very well in comparison to yesteryears, with Eskom doing quite well in terms of no load shedding in 300 plus days. And the economy is resilient to that mark.
All right. Well, let us get into some of the company news that came out of the JSE. Pretty big ones today. Let's actually start off with Sasol. It came out with a 6-month production and sales update. Still operational challenges there at Secunda. They talk about coal quality complications, which they are working on with that destoning unit. There was also a fire at Natref refinery, also affected by the Mozambique unrest. I mean, after this update, when I saw it, I definitely knew that share price was going to dip, and as expected, it did dip. I think the last time I checked was about 4-5%, back to 87 rand. Is Sasol fighting for its life here?
Fighting, scratching, and crying. Everything doesn't seem to be working for them at the moment. As you said, the very weak numbers, either planned or unplanned. And yeah, it's they are in a very tough predicament. I mean, in terms of the leadership team, they do have a strong leadership. It's just that nothing is working out in their favor. As you said, firstly, a fire, bad coal as well that came about. They did show some improvements in the likes of fuel sales, where the fuel sales were up. However, again, things are just not going in their direction. And they just need everything to work out for them for things to start turning around.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If it's not the macroeconomic environment that has them under pressure, it is what is happening inside with their operational challenges. And really, they just need to tighten the ship in terms of that. But as you say, some things are controllable, some things aren't. Let's take a look at Super Group. The logistics group came out with an interim trading statement. Quite interestingly, though, that the headline earnings per share for total operations would have seen positive growth there. But when we actually drill down to continuing operations, we do see them expecting a drop all the way from revenue down to the bottom line. Also dealing with a couple of challenges in Africa and the UK. Are the walls closing in terms of Super Group's growth at this particular point in time?
I would say I differ on that sentiment. As you said, yes, a lot of negativity coming on the way in terms of earnings this particular season. However, in 4th of December, they had that one sprite of good news with the sale of Super Group fleet.
Yes.
So I think that is definitely going to work in their favor, especially in terms of reducing or increasing the strength of the balance sheet that they have, selling for over 640 million Australian dollars. So that's one of them. But again, they also did see some breathing room in terms of logistics in the ports. They were starting to free up quite a bit, or they are starting to free up as now. So there is some potential upside. And again, in terms of the uprest in Mozambique, that also hurt them as well. So a lot of event-driven, things that has hurt the business. And again, Chinese slow growth, that also played a little bit of a role. However, it doesn't mean the end of the world. And if you look at one other business, which is the dealerships in South Africa and the UK, they did also suffer there a little bit. Going to South Africa, influx of Chinese vehicles, that's hurting them. And then in the UK, our German manufacturers, that side, not really needing automotive parts, that also hurt the business on that front. So it's economic conditions are just hurting them at the
Yeah.
moment. However, the injection from the sale of Supergroup fleet, I think that's going to help them out.
All right. Well, let's go into building materials. Cash Build coming out with the second quarter operational update. Actually seeing revenue growth on a quarter-on-quarter and a half-year basis compared to really what we saw, I guess, in the last 2.5 or 3 years. It seems to be that growth is ticking up. Are we seeing some kind of lift-off on Cash Build?
I do think this could be a start of a good period. I think right now, let's take example with the property market. Property has been growing. A lot of people are buying homes at the moment. And if you take that and Cash Build, they usually work hand in hand. I'm assuming that it looks like a lot of people are now going into renovations and building their homes. So it's quite positive on that front. So in the South African market, yes, they are growing quite well, and I'm quite hopeful of the business. They are just struggling in Botswana and Malawi. However, overall, I think the business does have a potential to the upside.
I'm sure Two-Pot is working here in South Africa. Well, let's get to your stock pick for today. What are you choosing?
My stock pick today is going to be Autodesk. Autodesk is the software company that builds everything around the world, from architecture, 3D models, etc. So it's a subscription-based business as well. And with everyone now trying to better their economies, I do feel that they're going to have some growth on their front. And on the other hand, they are also a nice AI play as well. So Autodesk is going to be my choice today.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and giving us insight on what has moved investors' money today, Odwa. That was Odwa Mangwentshu from Momentum Securities.